When you're that dominant, is it not easier?
I'm not going to fault you for that, though.
No, but I think for an award like this, it's not a fault. It's just rewarding people who actually had to overcome. Don't be so defensive.
We talking sprint culture, we talking track and field. When the gunshot lick it, give a man the chills. We talking speed demons like Usain. The red track where a legend really makes their name. The US and Jamaica, they run the sprinting game. There's nothing like the Olympics for your claim to fame. When you break the world record, you show you ain't the same. From the men to the women, times are insane. Yeah, we talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture.
Yes. Big up. Yo, been a minute, man. Been a minute. Big up the one named Aaron Brown. What you saying, Doc?
What's poppin'?
I don't want to call you a regular guest.
I'm a guest host.
Guest host.
Yeah. More official, you know?
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by what we got here? Tin metal cups. Something about them just makes the beverage taste better. What exactly and why exactly, I don't know. But get yourself a tin metal cup. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's been some pretty good content coming out lately, considering it's the off season. The Fast Lane, that's off his podcast. He had Donovan Bailey on there. Mm-hmm. He had Liver Christie on there with Maurice Green. He had an episode with Justin Gatlin. Tyson Gay was on that too. Interesting discussions. They talk about some interesting things here and there.
What are they talking about?
One thing in particular I do remember.
Type of person is be like, I want to keep it forever. Yeah. Because that means your sport is staying static. This is the sport that I love. This is the sport that I love. I want the sport to grow. Yeah. I had it. Great. Okay. Let somebody else come along. They do it. That's good. That means your sport is still progressing. Like. That's what I'm going to have it forever. Like,
I think that a lot of reasons why basketball talk is so fun. We do compare the generations. We do talk about what would have happened if such and such went against such and such. And a lot of times, if you ask one of the players seriously, they're going to answer seriously. Mm-hmm. I would have rather he'd be like, yo, honestly, them guys would have had problems with me, yo. It's a part of how those guys are wired. And why people want to shit on Ben will come on the show and be like, I'll blow out all these guys. I'd destroy Bolts.
Yeah, but then he gets ripped apart.
Not by me.
Yeah, not by you, but by everybody else, especially because he was on drugs. I mean, I've seen what he said. I'm not going to rip him. Man said he'd run 9.4.
Can we dispute that?
Dispute what? That he was on drugs?
No, I'm talking about if you could have ran 9.4. Are the shoes a factor? Are track surfaces a factor?
Come on, Doc. 9.4, bro?
9.4.
You're going to go from 9.79 to 9.4? This is why the discourse is hard to have, because every old generation could say they would be better than this generation if they had the technology. Like, basketball is a bit different because you could say, like, all right, we played a different way. Like, there's more 3-point shooting than we would have been shooting threes too, whatever. Like, people say that about Jordan, like you. But we never seen it. So it's easy to say it, but we've never seen it. With speed, it's even harder.
But that's why it's so absolute. Like,
people say Jesse Owens is the GOAT.
They do. But, okay, but with speed and with anything in track field, it's very absolute. So you have to consider things that are a little bit more minute. But I wouldn't say that shoes are minute, dog.
How do you factor it, though?
Listen, dog.
No,
we know
it's
the shoes.
Factor.
We know that the shoes are doing something.
I'm not going to say
we know
it's
that
not
the Mondo surfaces are doing something. We know that even the bodysuits are doing something.
I'm not denying that it's not doing something. I'm denying the severity of it. Y'all go all like way out there, bro. Like you say, give me some Mondo and I'll run 9.3. Like,
I know.
Bro. Like it's not doing all that.
I know that the shoes they were using back in the day, Ben's shoes. He'll say your spikes. They weren't like firm.
My spikes that I run in, I could bend it and put it in my pocket.
It was giving him nothing. He was running on bare yard foot. Okay, so if you give him some carbon fiber with a little bit of bounce in the sole or the technology that's going to push you forward, put him on some Mondo that's hard as cement, but gives the kickback with the power that he had in his legs, dog. 9.4, I don't know. That's really, really fast. But I don't know.
Come on, man.
But the thing is, a lot of these discussions, we don't know the answers. We don't know the answers with all these basketball debates.
Exactly. So then what's the point of having the discourse?
It's the deliberation.
It's so much harder in track and field to do it.
I don't think it's harder.
So tell me this then. Who is the greatest sprinter of all time? Because you could say Bolt had the Mondo, Bolt had the spikes.
Bolt didn't have the spikes.
Yeah, but better than Ben Johnson.
Yeah, of course.
So if you're going to go way back and say, oh, Jesse Owens ran in dirt, he ran 10-3.
10-3 in dirt is crazy.
I know it is.
Would I say Jesse Owens? No.
So who would you say then?
Well, I would say Ben, but there's
the
asterisk though.
So you think Ben's the GOAT?
If we're just going off the actual specimens, I think Ben would have been really hard.
Wait, how are you going to say specimen and not say Bolt, bro? Ain't nobody was a specimen like Bolt.
No, but I think that would have been a battle, but I don't think that Bolt was really challenged during his heyday.
What?
Let's be real. Was Bolt really challenged?
Bro, when he went 9.58, Tyson went 9.71.
Right. But it wasn't close. 58 to 71 isn't close.
It wasn't close because Bolt is that nice.
Right.
But I'm saying, who else would have challenged him?
I think a Ben Johnson with all the technology and everything, all the things that is disposable.
But you just said Tyson didn't have the technology.
I wouldn't say that Tyson was as good as Ben. I mean, you even say Donovan. Give Donovan a lot of the technology.
Most of the guys in my era were running bare feet, technically, with nails on your feet. This thing is bounding you forward, man. So how do I think I'd have done?
Donovan said he'd run 9.4.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on with these Canadian guys, dog?
Yo, trust me.
Making us look a little wild, bro.
I want these men to just talk to things, yo. Like, what would have happened? This is what everyone wants to know. What would have happened?
You're always going to get a scenario where the older generation is going to overstate how much the new technology is helping.
I think the newer generation downplay what the technology does. I saw this clip of this. I guess the world record got broken again the other day in the marathon. Surprise, surprise. The shoes that this woman was wearing look like they got marshmallows on the bottom of them, dog. To look at what's happening with the shoes and say, well, it's just technology. It's just, okay, cool. I'm okay with technology evolving, but let's just admit that technology is brought in to make things easier.
Yeah, it's innovation. It's supposed to make it better. That's
easier.
The point.
Make things easier.
Whatever semantics you want to use, it's a marginal benefit, but it compounds the longer you go in a race. So in a sprint race, it doesn't affect you as much as it would in a marathon. That's why you're seeing all these world records in the marathon, because over time, the energy output you're saving by having the cushion and all that, and the force that's going out, is magnified over the longer distance.
I agree, but you have to remember, within a 100-meter sprint, hundredths and tenths are a big deal. Hundredths and tenths aren't a big deal over a long distance. So if you get a couple tenths, that's a huge difference in 100. That's enormous.
But it's not tenths, though. It's not tenths.
You get tenths.
Nah, man. It's not going to be tenths, bro.
Even if you get hundreds, that's big, dog.
You have to know how to run in the spikes, too. You don't just put them on and then you get boosties automatically. It's not like 2K where you just throw on some new gear and you get high up your stats. Like, you have to know how to run in them or else you can mess yourself up.
So there's certain running techniques you have to use to get the most out of the shoes.
You got to have the skills. Okay,
so you have to develop a certain way of positioning your feet or training certain muscles to propel yourself to get the most out of the technology within the shoes. Correct?
Yeah.
I think that a skill realm in track, that gives people who aren't as talented the opportunity to be able to run with people who are as talented. I think that makes it a bit easier.
No, because you need the skills. If they're not as talented, how can they do it?
You can develop skill. You can't develop raw talent.
Are you talking about skill or are you talking about genetics?
Yo, you're talking about skill. I'm talking about genetics. When the skill has so much effect on the equipment and the equipment has so much effect on the results, then skill is taking away from raw talent. So I can walk in and just be barefoot. I'm faster than somebody, dog. You give some equipment, and for whatever reason, some person knows how to position their foot properly in these shoes, and they're going to get more. But I'm actually faster.
But okay, hold on. It's always the same thing, though. That same technique that's going to get you faster than the spikes is going to be faster regardless. It's just you're applying it correctly for it to give you the benefit. So the person like an Asafa Powell, him with his magnificent running form is going to be faster because he's running with great technique, just the same way you'd be faster with putting on the spikes with that technique.
To that point, Asafa with his great technique, put him in those shoes. Brethren, we're talking tenths.
1/10 max.
There's a lot of guys that were very good technically back in the day. They can get what they need to get out of those shoes, dog.
And Asafa would be a good one. I think Asafa would be a good one.
Some people don't like the shoes.
Gatlin.
Justin doesn't like them, no.
The perfect person to ask because he was in the game when the technology wasn't as crazy.
Okay, but Justin was wearing the shoes at the end of his career.
He was still running 9 though. He just came off of a silver.
You have to understand, when you hit that threshold, like when your career is done, it just happens, dog. Right? You come back to 2021. Yeah. Justin's he's on his way out. He was still in pretty good shape, but he wasn't really Justin. Now, if Justin was Justin, Nike would have even tweaked the shoes a little bit more so that the technology would have been favorable for him with the new innovations they have, because that's what they do for each person.
Okay.
Which is a bit of a problem, but that's another discussion for another day. But yeah, the shoe technology, it would have created a shoe that would give the advantage that Justin would have been able to utilize and take advantage with. He was at the end of his career, dog. So I understand he didn't like the shoes, but it's the end of his career.
2019, he was still number 2 in the world. I would say even though he's not in his prime, he's still really good, just like LeBron is still really good at 39. It's a good sample size to use the year after, coming off of getting a silver, no?
2 years after.
No. 2020, they sent the spikes. The year got canceled, but he was still training in them. And I heard his feedback and how he was performing them. And I was there, and he never liked them.
I understand.
It's not for everybody, bro. I
understand, but
it could be one of these legends from back in the day would be the same as Gat, where they'd be like, I just don't like these shoes. I like the spike that I'm wearing. Coleman's another one. He doesn't like the spikes. He runs in Superflies.
I seen him in the shoes now. He wears the shoes.
He's another guy I train with. I talk to him, bro.
So he hates the shoes?
He doesn't like them. He said it changes the way he runs, and the way he runs, he prefers not to wear them. He trains in the Superflies and races in Superflies. At Nationals, he wore them at 9.8.
He wore them in around 9.8 at Nationals?
He wore the Superflies.
Right.
Not the Max Flies, not the bubbles.
I don't know, Dad. He might have gotten that 100th that would have gotten him on the team.
See?
We don't know. We don't know.
It's not for everybody, bro. I'm telling you.
I'm just saying, scientifically, the shoes give an advantage. That's why the shoes are a thing.
If they're used in the right way.
Right.
If your running style just doesn't suit it, it can mess you up.
Okay, I got a fair question. Okay. Would you say that people who have had a lot of success in the 100 meters may be stuck in their ways?
For sure. Why wouldn't he? He's been world champion without them. So why would you think he needs
them? So for him to think, okay, I may need to alter a few things so I can utilize the technology in the shoes. More than likely, because he's had success, he's not going to want to switch what he's doing because he's had success. So I'm not saying that he would. I
don't think it's that.
Let's have a compromise. Is it fair to say that the possibility of him being able to capitalize on the shoes wouldn't really be explored because he's had so much success?
I think he honestly gave him a chance. Just like everybody else. Kenny's another one. But Kenny actually does well in the spikes.
I know.
But he did well without him too.
Yeah, but he's doing a lot better with them.
So it's...
Look, dog, those shoes are changing lives, dog. And I've looked at, if I'm seeing some shoes that are changing lives, change my life, dog. Change my life.
Whose life would change? Whose life would change? Who?
Really?
No, don't get quiet now. Who?
No. I look at, this is another show.
Whose life would change?
Look at, you know how many topics we have to go over tonight? We haven't touched one, dog. That's a whole other show.
I know. That's your fault, though. You're leading this, dog.
I could easily.
You can't team me up and then not expect me to cook.
No, I know this is all right. It was a good warm up, but I'm just saying, I want the viewers to comment the lives that those shoes have changed, because those shoes have changed lives. Let's get back to the top of our list. Yeah, there's been some good content out there. On Ready, Set, Go, I saw Fred was on there. Fred Curley.
If you want sound bites, you look at Fred, bro. He'll give you the sound bites.
You know I know this. Fred, you know times Fred's been on Sprint Culture for years now.
These are my two teams. 4x1 for USA. CC, our Grant first leg, me second leg, and our Courtney third leg.
Okay.
And Noah bring it home.
You got the silver locked.
You got me fucked up, nigga.
That's a compliment. Y'all got the silver locked.
Man, you
don't get a fucking
up. Shut the hell no, nigga.
Come on.
Hey, stop with me, man.
Fred, we know what's gonna happen.
Yo, stop, man.
He said a bunch of things during the interview. But one thing that stood out, he kind of called out Omanyala, dog, and said his 9.7s weren't real.
But them races in Kenya don't really count.
Oh boy, Omanyala gonna be mad. You said that.
I don't really care, but he already know what it is. I run fast everywhere. I don't run.
I think it's real. I just think that he's comfortable. Like he ran 9.7. It was windy, but he ran it in Botswana. Maybe a little falsy, but you know, he still ran it.
That's a little falsy.
No, I said that because I was in the race, and anyways, we're not gonna talk about that.
No, why not?
But,
why are we gonna talk about that?
I mean, I've already covered this in my reaction videos. Aaron Kingsley Brown on YouTube. Go ahead and check it out if you want to see it. A fake time to me is where everybody in the race is PRing.
Right.
Clock is malfunctioned, or it's super windy and it came up as like a 1.5 or something. Like you can see like the trees are bending over and stuff. Like that's like a fake time, if you want to call it that.
Right.
But when people go to like fast tracks, quote unquote, and run a fast time, if the conditions are perfect, like why wouldn't they run fast? Kenya's at altitude.
Yep.
It's his home track. He's on a bean. He's in front of his like president or prime minister, whatever they have.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be gassed up. This is where he trains. This is his neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fake just because you can't do the same thing at a different track. Like many people can't bring the same race to another track.
Right.
Not everybody can be consistent like that.
I don't think that Omanyala is someone that people want to wake up. I don't think any of those guys make him nervous. You have to understand how this guy grew up. Doug, have you ever come across a lion?
Yeah, I mean, not in person.
Right. I think if Omanyala is in shape, he'd be very hard to beat.
What about a Simbini and Taboho?
I think he'd be more inclined to be intimidated by them. I think those guys are cut from a different cloth over there, man. And I think that they know that. And so I think when they come into competitions, it's never nerves directly to those people. It's more so, how they're going to represent where they're from.
He's hanging on to the fastest man in Africa thing. Like that's how he's marketing himself.
Is Letsile Tebogo the king of African sprinting?
Who has the African record?
It's you.
It's you. I hope that answers your question.
But if he consistently keeps losing to them, then
yeah, it's become harder for him to argue that now.
He has the fastest time, so technically he's right. But are we just talking raw speed, just times that make you the fastest, or are we talking about consistency, head-to-head, championships, and like titles? Like, what makes you the fastest?
That's a very good question.
Because when he runs his 9.7s, you expect it to be across the board, and he beats everybody because he's technically been the fastest over 100 meters. But when he's not, now it's like, oh, we're going to say they're fake because they don't hold as much weight. But that doesn't make it fake. But at the same time, people are looking at it like crazy because like he hasn't done it again in the biggest moments or anywhere out of Africa.
It's funny because how fast you actually are, like you said, can be clouded if you don't run rounds well, because you can't do it when it matters. Rounds totally change everything for some people, and people will just people will just say the shit that you ran is fake, but it's not fake. It's just you're not good with rounds. Asafo wasn't good with rounds either. I don't think there's a clear, distinct answer to say, well, you have to do this. I think in order to be the fastest, anything faster than Africa, faster than the world, whatever, it just has to be clear. And by clear, that means you run well at championships, you run fast times, and you're always beating people. You have to be able to do all of them. Mm-hmm. It can't just be one. It can't just be, well, I don't really beat people and I don't really run well at championships, but I have fast times. Or I run fast at championships, but I don't have fast times. It's got to be all of them. There's only a few people in history where it's been definitive, like, okay, that guy was the fastest man in the world.
Yeah, but the chances of you getting that is not very often.
No, I don't think it's clear right now.
Also, what factors in for me determining what's a fake time, quote unquote, and what's real is who else is in the race. Like, who else did you beat? He beat Fred.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Fred said he false started, so.
He didn't false start.
Yeah, well, either way, the point is he beat Fred straight up. I've seen him beat Kenny. I've seen him beat Marvin. So if someone beats you, then that makes the time more legitimate to me, which is why we put so much weight into the championships, because everyone's supposed to be there at their best. Like, that's like the set date. Like, all right, you pull up here. If you perform here, then you get the spoils. You get the accolades. So if you have like that in a mini version, then you should get the respect for it. So if you beat Fred head up, then it's hard to argue that.
I mean, if I was Omanyala, that's exactly what I'd say. Yo, Trey, you're really fast on the head-to-head records. Yo, if you're in the chat, tell me what the head-to-head record is in the 100 between Omanyala and Fred. Oh shit! Trey just said that the record between Fred and Omanyala is Fred 8, Omanyala 1 in 100.
All right, well, I take that back then. Yo.
Yeah, I think you have the basis to be like, yo,
yeah. I die shit.
8-1, damn. That's serious. That might be insurmountable.
I mean, that changes things though, because to me, I put weight into head to head.
Absolutely, because look at some people you just don't run well against, dog. Some people just mentally just.
Yeah. Some people you just don't let them beat you. I have guys like that where I'm like, yo, this guy is not beating me. I don't care where I finish. This guy is not beating me.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a factor.
But if you beat someone that many times and they haven't reproduced that 9-7, then it's like, all right, that was a fluke. I'm still not going to say it's fake, but I get what he's saying.
It's definitely not fake, but I can see why Fred would say something.
Like his body still did it, but it doesn't hold the weight.
Right. But that kind of plays in his favor with him versus Tobogo, though. Trey, if you're still there, if you could tell me what Omanyala's record is against Tobogo in the 100. Omanyala's up 6-2 against Tobogo. I've been calling him Tobogo for years now. Tobogo. Omanyala's
he's
up 6-2.
Olympic champion. You got to pronounce it right now, dog.
I know. He never corrected me, ever. I came across this extended interview with Bolt that just came out recently.
What's he talking about?
People, when they talk to Bolt, they always want to know about the winning mindset and tell us what the world record was like and tell us about when you discovered your speed. And it was a lot of the same, but I'm not faulting the interviewer. I mean, that for that session that they were interviewing for, I think the people in that session wanted to know about winning mentality and stuff like that. I think that's what they brought him in there for. But from an entertainment standpoint, it wouldn't be something anyone would hear that was new per se. But for that session, what they were doing at that summit, something like that. And I think for that, it was really good. Okay. I want to hear Bolt talk about some other things. He was just talking about people believing that they could really win and all that stuff. And he basically said no one really believed, but he felt like Justin actually believed that he could beat him. And I do think that. But he said there was a time where they raced and Justin spat into his lane.
I heard about that.
I want to ask Justin, because Justin, he doesn't come across like that at all. But I do know that to be able to run at that level and to be that dominant, you got to be a bit. Something's not.
A little bit.
Yeah, you have to. But it would be interesting to hear him talk about it, because the spitting him at in the next man's lane is crazy, dog.
It's crazy. He
didn't really care. He didn't say whether or not he won the race or not, but he did say that Justin spat in his lane, And I wanna ask one of them about it. How did we not even know about this?
I know.
I mean, there's obviously cameras out there. It's kind of a war zone out there. And the thing is, it sounds weird saying that because it's not combat and there's no contact, but it does feel like you're about to fight.
Yeah, you get that like fight or flight in your body, like
right. Technically, you can compare being beat up to being beaten by someone in a race, because it is very imposing. Like, I am beating you. I beat you.
Yeah, it beats up your ego, bro.
Yeah, like seeing a man just
you
pull
get
away
slapped
from
up,
you,
bro.
Yeah, it's the mental warfare aspect of it makes it interesting. But I don't think I think people just think people are out there just running. There's so many things that can go wrong in such a small amount of time, and you can win by centimeters or inches or millimeters. It's so much weight on such minuscule variables. And that's what makes track and field nerve-wracking. It's the nerves, like that feeling that people get before they watch an Olympic final. That's the selling point. We don't get that except for once every 4 years. That's what needs to change.
Do you think you'll get that in Grand Slam?
That Grand Slam stuff was looking legit.
It does.
I think that Michael's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder with how Alexis Ohanian kind of called him out on Twitter. If Ohanian is really trying to compete with Grand Slam track, you wouldn't do that to an actual competitor. I don't know Alexis Ohanian's competition history. I know Michael Johnson's competition history, and he did it at the highest level.
He's probably a competitor too, though.
Maybe, but
he's as good in his field as Michael Johnson was in his.
You what?
Yeah.
No, I disagree.
How?
Michael Johnson has been the best in the world at something. I don't think you compare. If someone's been the best in the world at something, I think that their competition mentality, you can't compare it to someone who's very successful. I'm not saying he's not, he's probably a competitor.
Don't compare their success levels, but compare their competitive drive. Like, you need the same hunger.
I think that a lot of people, not Ohanian in particular, but I think a lot of people can get rich off of doing nothing. Getting rich isn't indicative of being a highly competitive person to me, dog. If Michael Johnson has an organization and I have an organization and we're battling, I'm not rattling him because he has the propensity to go sleepless nights to make sure that his shit is on point. I don't know what's going to happen with Grand Slam track, but I do know that would cause someone like that to step it up a notch.
I don't think they're direct competitors though. He's taking the all women's angle.
Yeah, but Grand Slam track has women. At some point, you got to think, okay, well, where are the best women competing? Because Ohanian's going to have more than one meet next year, if not next year, the year after that. I know that at some point he's going to try and make it a series. And if you make it a series, then it'll come down to a situation where women have to decide. We can't deny it now. Yeah. Athlos is there. The women want to go to Athlos now. The women that didn't go are kind of like, well, I need to try and get into it next year. I think Ohanian is going to have to consider the fact that, okay, well, people are going to start looking at whether or not I have the best women and if Grand Slam track has the best women. And the problem is there's a few women that are in both.
Who's in both?
Masai Russell's in both. Jasmine Camacho Quinn is in both. Marilita Paulinho.
That's interesting.
Dude, if I was really becoming a direct competitor with Athlos, I'd be like, well, not if you're with Grand Slam track, you can't run over there. Period. I think that may be something that may come up.
Even it's going to risk losing them though.
Yeah.
And Gabby's going to be an Athlos. She's the face of it. So you would risk not having Gabby in your Grand Slam just to send that message?
Yeah.
Damn.
Because sprinters come and go. You won't make and break Grand Slam track. And really, I got Sydney McLaughlin here. Yeah, I've got big names. So you don't want to come? Okay, cool.
You want as many as you can get, no?
Yeah, but I'm not going to beg for you.
You don't have to beg. I'm just saying.
Gabby's not at beg level yet.
She's not what?
She's not at beg level yet. Yeah, you can go. You don't want to come? Cool, go. Good.
All right.
I think that would be Michael's mentality. When Ohanian sent that tweet out, it was an ill-advised tweet, in my opinion. For one, you rattle Michael Johnson, and for two, it was creating the clash between the women in the sport and Michael Johnson and what he has going on. Because not only the women have to ask permission to go to other competitions, everyone has to ask permission to go to other competitions. It wasn't women having to ask permission to go do something. If you're in an organization like the NBA, if you're going to go play in China, you'd have to ask. And more than likely, you're not going to be allowed. That's how organizations work. And that's what we're trying to get in track and field, some sort of organization.
Well, we don't have that in track, though. So we're not used to that.
But that's what that's what Michael Johnson's trying to establish, a legitimate league.
He's trying to. But when you're used to something, having the luxury of going wherever you want, it's going to feel like oppression when you try to make people be organized.
Right. Good point. But it's not oppression.
Actually, by definition, it is. Like, oppression is like taking away abilities and like freedoms. And so when you have the freedom to run as many meets as you want or as little meets as you want with no repercussions, you can pull out whenever you want. You can do whatever you want at these meets.
Right.
What if you start adding some structure? It is a bit oppressive, bro, by definition. It's a good oppression. It's not like negative, but you're taking away some freedoms for the greater good of the sport.
That's a good point, actually. Okay, there's definitely some oppression.
But we need some. We need some structure. We need some discipline.
That kind of sounds like what Kanye said, that black people wanted to be slaves back in the day.
No.
I know. I'm just saying it sounds like it. I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying it's all perspective, right? It could be considered oppression or it could be considered structure. And I think that track and field has been lacking structure. And track and field already has loads of oppression. You know what I'm saying? So shit, a little bit more ain't gonna hurt, yo. He's just trying to make it a bit more organized, yo. And I think that's all right.
Yeah.
Yo, Joshua Abogwe, this is the first comment that stuck out to me. He's like, yeah, yo, I just got here, bro. How the first sentence, black people wanted to be slaves. That's not what I was saying.
That was him, not me.
He missed the context. I wasn't saying that.
Do you think it matters if Grand Slam doesn't sign Noah, Sha'Carri, or Julian? publicly, I think people would still say that Sha'Carri is the fastest because she's the most known, even though obviously Julian won. Julian is the Olympic champion in the 100, and then Noah's obviously the most known and the Olympic champion in the 100. So can you have the slogan of the fastest and the best without those people? And is it concerning to you that they haven't already signed?
I do think it matters. It definitely will have an effect on the credibility. If people aren't running faster than them, even still, just title-wise, you'd want them there. But I also do think that with people and names that big, creating deals for them is a lot more complicated. So I'm not counting out the fact that he may get them.
So you think it's just a money thing?
There's all kinds of angles that agents will come at you with stuff like this. Certain things need to be regulated and certain demands, and it just gets trickier when you get bigger names in track.
I'm surprised Rye didn't sign.
I think he might.
He would murder that.
Is there a deadline?
No, but they already filled the 400 hurdles, I thought.
If they sign Rye, someone's going to become an immediate substitute because he holds weight.
Rye in the 400 hurdles and the 400, bro, nobody in the world is better than him in that. Like, not even
That's
close.
easy money. You should do it.
There's the racers and there's like the challengers or something like that. So there's spots for people to come in for just one meet and they can get signed for the rest of the thing if they like perform well or whatever.
You seem to know a lot more about it than I do. So
yeah, I've been following it.
I've been too, but I don't know. The racers and challengers thing, I didn't really know.
They put it on their page, like they explained it.
There's an explainer video?
No, it's a post.
Okay, they need to make an explainer video. Grand Slam track, if you guys are listening, you guys need an explainer video because I'm doing a lot of explaining and not having explanations. But I think the biggest matchup that everyone wants to see, which I thought we were going to see, but I don't know if it's going to happen, is Paulino against Sydney in 400. Because I saw Paulino the other day talking about she's got the world record on her mind, yo. But I don't see her running 47.6. But I don't know. I know you got all the belief in the world in Paulino, but
hey, hold on.
She better hope she doesn't have to race Sydney because
why are you so why do you do this?
I'm just saying.
You said you respect head-to-heads. What are they head-to-head?
I respect head-to-heads, but I also have a stance.
When they raced in Paris, what happened?
They raced once. It was Sydney's first 400.
Oh, now we have excuses?
No, we don't have any excuses. I'm just saying Sydney's just better than her, dog.
But how, though? How? She ran 48.1. Sydney has not touched that. She ran faster than Sydney's ever ran in her life. Has Sydney beat her?
Okay, look at that question there. If Sydney's beat her, ask me that after their first race at Grand Slam track.
Why?
Because I guarantee if they race against Sydney,
why don't we count the one that we have right now?
Because it was her first race. Paulino is a 400-meter veteran.
You know what? I hope they do race.
Why? And what's going to happen if they race?
We could put up money on that one.
Oh my gosh. Aaron, don't do this, man. It's live on camera, and I will clip this.
My betting's good. My betting's good.
Yeah,
hey,
but this is a bad bet.
You didn't clip it?
This is a bad bet.
We had Sha'Carri winning Zurich, and what happened?
That was also a good bet on my behalf because
I won that though.
You did, but I think that Julian just had a bad race because she came back and beat her at Diamond League final. We didn't bet on that though, so it's whatever. But I'm just saying, I think that Julian was actually the better sprinter last season. With Sydney and Paulino, it's not a good bet.
How is it not, bro?
It's not a good bet for you.
Do you know what Paulino ran?
That's how she ran the Diamond League final.
It doesn't matter. She's coasting.
She was coasting.
She proved what she had to prove.
Look, man, Sydney ran in a B race and ran faster than her.
How is she better in the 400?
Grand Slam track, if you're listening. Grand Slam track, if you're listening. This is the matchup that has to happen. This is the best matchup you guys have. Is Paulino and Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Because this has been discussed for too long. Everyone's holding on to that Paris race, which she lost. Everyone knows Sydney has the capabilities of breaking the world record in the 4. I don't think anyone's ever really considered Paulino breaking the world record in the 400. She's talking about it, which is good. Obviously, her head's there. But if you're looking at the tools, Sydney's constantly breaking the world record in the 400-meter hurdles. And she also is very, very fast in the 200. As she beat the Olympic champion in the 200 earlier in the season last year. So she has the speed. She has all the tools. This is a specimen that can actually break the world record in the 400. This has to happen. I think they'll push each other to that world record. And if you know what's going to give Grand Slam track some credibility? If they get a world record in the first year. And Michael Johnson as a 400-meter runner, for him to get the 400-meter world record would be big for him. So he has to make that matchup happen. 100% has to make that happen because they're not going to be able to make that matchup happen in the Diamond League. Diamond League couldn't even make it happen in the Diamond League final, dog.
That's because of Sydney. She didn't want to run any Diamond Leagues.
That was not because of Sydney, dog. Sydney wanted to race. There, let's not start this argument again, please.
She wanted to bypass the entire season and run the finals.
Sydney McLaughlin running that Diamond League final. You just don't.
Oh my God,
you don't.
You're not going down.
The Diamond League final isn't big enough of a thing for you to leave that person out of that race. You put her in some B race. She might as well not even have gone. That was a waste of time.
You got to see her run.
It's not a good look on them either. You have someone in the B race running faster than the people in the A race. As a new fan, I'd be like, well, why isn't she running with them? Makes no sense to me. But it makes sense to Aaron Brown.
It does. You follow the rules.
Look, Grand Slam track. That matchup has to happen. Ooh, big up the one named Kalen Walker. Yo, I see you in here, dog. We're getting ready to talk about you in a little while, man. I don't know if you're going to stick around, but you saw he ran 4.15 on the field. I guess it was halftime at a University of Iowa game. That took social media by storm, yo.
Yeah, because people know immediately what that time translates to.
Right.
And if you look at all the comments, it's like, oh, give him a football, give him a football, give him a football. So you tap into that whole market of football fans.
Right.
And they immediately know, okay, that's fast as hell. Because all they obsess about with speed is the 40-yard dash. Mm-hmm. So if you speak their language, then you tap into a way bigger audience. And he did it at a football game, bro. It was in front of football fans.
Right. I think it gives a lot of perspective because no sprinters are really in shape right now. There's loads more where that came from, dog. There's people all over the world that could run for around that time, which is what makes it totally ludicrous for Tyreek to be racing Noah.
What are they running? What's the distance?
Apparently, they're going to run a 50.
Why?
I don't know, man. Every time I talk about this Tyreek stuff, people are always like, well, it's good for the fans. Okay, I get that. But if I'm just looking at it logically, it just seems like a stupid race. Why does Tyreek get to run against the fastest man in the world?
Like, why does Jake Paul get to fight Mike Tyson, probably the biggest legend outside of Muhammad Ali in boxing?
But imagine Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson in his prime.
Right after, I know, it's stupid.
Why does he get to race Noah Lyles in Noah Lyles' prime? It makes track and field look kind of dibby-dibby, yo. He shouldn't be nowhere near Noah Lyles.
I know why, though. It's because Tyreek is in a win-win situation.
Noah's in a lose-lose situation.
Exactly. He's supposed to win, so it's not impressive. If Tyreek's even close, it's a loss for Noah.
And if he loses, he ruins the sport.
Yeah.
In my mind, he's going to annihilate him. But he has to annihilate him. He has to.
He's got to, clown him, too.
He's got to clown him. He's got to
turn around and point at him or something.
Right. I already know what's going to happen. Tyreek's going to try to catch a flyer. He's going to try to catch a flyer.
That'd be crazy.
He's going to try to catch a flyer, and he'll get away with it.
When's the race supposed to be?
They haven't said yet, but they said that it's really in the talks now.
I'm surprised it's actually happening.
Me too.
I thought he was just going to ride out this talking thing.
Well, Tyreek should make the most of it now because after this race, no one's going to be listening to him when he talks about being fast. It's done because he's going to get beaten really, really, really badly.
I hope so.
It's entertaining. Cool. I like the dialogue. I like hearing the football fans get hyped for nothing, but they're immediately going to shift on him too. To have that kind of belief in someone and then to see them get trampled on, that's going to shift towards him, which kind of sucks for him because I think he's just trying to entertain. But those fans are going to shift on him like, hey, wait a minute. You knew you weren't going to beat this guy.
They'll probably just make excuses. He's playing football. He's got extra weight. They're just going to say stuff like that. Like, yeah, of course, Noah won. He trains full time. Tyreek's doing this as a side mission.
Right. I think it's lose-lose for Noah.
No, I'm not going to say that. Because he's going to get more publicity off of this, which is his MO, it seems. Bro, did you see the guy who won the World Series?
World Series champions. Sucking Noah Lyles.
Him saying world champions of what changed his life. Better than him winning any medal. He's been more famous and eating off of that than anything that he's ever done.
We're going to start talking about these World Athletics Awards. Do you think that it's important when you're choosing your award winners that you choose a big name in the sport? Someone who can cross over commercially? 75% of the vote is by World Athletics.
Nah, because they already have 25% from the fan vote. So that's going to take care of that part.
Right. Okay. We've got our finalists. Field Athlete of the Year. The finalists are Nafi TM, heptathlete, gold medalist at the Olympics, and Yaroslava Mahuchik.
That's the height jumper?
Yeah.
Oh, she's going to win that. She broke the world record.
Right. I'm just confused by the TM finalist pick.
So who else would you put?
I would have definitely put Tara Davis in there. Tara had 71.4 thousand likes.
Jeez.
Mahukic had 30.5 thousand likes. Nafi TM had 11.3 thousand likes. How did that happen? It's not a fault against her, but I'm just saying for female field athlete of the year, how would you not have an Olympic champion in an actual personalized field event? She won World Indoors too.
Okay. I saw someone that said that TM, this is her third consecutive Olympic gold. So maybe it's like a lifetime compilation of like, all right, you got all these accolades. You deserve to finally be up there for Athlete of the Year.
I don't think it should factor in as far as being a field athlete of the year unless you've done something stellar in one of the field events. There's not one field event that TM could have won. It's not like it's Jackie Joyner-Kersee who could have.
Yeah, but it's the collective event.
No, but she's still doing other events. She's still doing hurdles. She's still doing the 200. She's still doing the 800.
Okay, but then they'll never win, bro.
I think this is just indicative of disrespect to the field events.
Why?
Because why would you squeeze in a heptathlete into the field athlete of the year if they're not an exceptional field athlete? I think the best of the best in specified field events, that should be a prerequisite for field athlete of the year. Why would you slip in a heptathlete? Can you imagine a heptathlete being slipped into the track award? How would that happen? How would that ever happen?
That's kind of crazy. But then who would they go up against?
Well, maybe they got to make a new category or something. That the heptathlon is a very difficult event to do, but they shouldn't be up for Field Athlete of the Year. On the men's side, for Field Athlete of the Year, we have Mondo Duplantis and Miltos D. Tentaglu.
It's over. It's over.
I don't know, man. Tentaglu's that guy does his thing.
Who?
Yeah, I think Mondo's gonna win.
You think? Come on, that's a lock.
Mondo deserves that.
Man even went outside and did a side quest and won the 100.
Mondo covers all the bases. For female track athlete of the year, it comes down to Julian Alfred and Sydney McLaughlin. So who's gonna win between Sydney and Julian Alfred for female track athlete of the year?
Sydney.
You get Sydney, huh?
World record, bro. And she broke it twice, didn't she?
Yeah.
And she didn't lose. As great as Julian was, like, it's hard, bro.
Yeah.
The fact that she got top 2, though, is an accomplishment.
She should be happy about that. Male track athlete of the year. The finalists are Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Leslie Taboho. Are you surprised Noah isn't a finalist?
No. Only because Taboho actually ran the Diamond League circuit, and I know that's a factor for them. I think they want to reward people who actually participate in more events. And I think the only Diamond League that Noah ran was London in the 100. Didn't run the finals. Like Taboho, he didn't win the finals, but like he went crazy after. Like he ran, 19.5 in Zurich? He ran 9.8 clowning around. But yeah, he was doing his thing. And up until he lost in Brussels, he looked like the best sprinter in the world.
He was doing both. He was doing the 1 and the 2.
Taboho broke the world record too. The 300 world record. And the 4x4 went crazy on that.
I think Leslie belongs there. He had a phenomenal season.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not Jakob belongs there, that's a fair discussion.
But I think he broke a world record in an event.
It was an obscure event.
3K world record.
That's what I was saying. It was something obscure.
It's still a world record, though.
Did Grant have a lot less fan votes than Jakob?
Not a lot less. I know Grant had 19.9 and Jakob had 26.4.
In my opinion, Grant should have been there instead of Jakob. Not a knock on Jakob, but I feel like this wasn't even necessarily one of his better seasons. And Grant's had a great season. Grant has all the titles now. World Indoor Champion again, became an Olympic champion. He really didn't lose that much on the circuit this year. He still has his indoor streak going. He runs on the circuit a lot. He's a showman. He's dominant.
And I saw Grant comment. He said GG's.
Yeah, I think that Grant might be feel a little bit of ways about that. I could be wrong. He should. If Celia doesn't win this is a real problem.
Yeah, he's going to win that.
He better win that. Let's just talk about what you think the factors should be to win the overall athlete of the year?
For me, a world record is probably at the top. You've shown that you're the greatest ever, so it's a moment. Being undefeated obviously helps. Winning at the highest level, so winning the Olympics, you got to do that. And then like storyline. When you look back at 2024, is your season memorable?
You know what? I don't know what the most important factor is. It's not the world record, though. I think overall it has to be a complete package of things. So I can't prioritize them. So I will say setting a world record would come into play, yes. Winning when you weren't expected to is a big one. I think rising to the top is a big factor. I think consistency is a big factor. I think popularity is a big factor. I think that versatility is a big factor.
Why is versatility a big factor?
For one, people can see you in a bunch of different things. For two, it just shows the type of prowess you have as an athlete, being able to do multiple different things. And to have success in multiple different events in one season is very impressive.
If I had to nitpick, then yeah. But if you go for someone like who's perfect, like Mondo or Sydney in the 400 hurdles, versus someone who was really good in two different events, but not the best, I'm going to go with the guy who's perfect.
I don't think I would. When you're that dominant, is it not easier? Like, we got to take the ease factor in.
I'm not going to fault you for that, though.
No, but I think for an award like this, it's not a fault. It's just rewarding people who actually had to overcome. Don't be so defensive. It's not.
Okay, so then by your logic, then LeBron should be better than Jordan because Jordan was so far ahead of everybody in his era.
No. Jordan had to overcome a lot.
Overcome what?
Dominating.
Yeah, the best team, legends. The best coach, the best rebounder.
What are you talking about? Okay, we're not doing this tonight, Aaron. Aaron, we're not doing this. I'm just saying Mondo hasn't really been tested this year, but I've seen Tobogo overcome a lot of tests.
But what did he get in the 100? Wasn't he like sixth?
It's a very competitive final. He was in contention to win this race, technically.
I'm not going to give him that, Doug.
Bretton, 979, 979, 981, 982, 985, 986, 988, 991. That's a battle.
Okay, by that logic, then all of them were in contention to win it. Literally the whole field, 1 through 8.
But then he was in contention for that and then went and won a gold in the deuce. Mondo wasn't a factor in any other event.
I can't fault him for that, though. If Tobogo at least medaled in the 100, I'd be like, all right. But you have to be damn near like flawless when someone's that good in one event. We have to nitpick when we're talking about the best. And you're going against the literal goat of an event.
I'm a nitpick. Mondo has it too easy right now. For him not being tested makes it less impressive, unfortunately. It's not his fault. But I think that there should be a reward for people who actually have to overcome. I think Leslie had to overcome a lot. A lot.
I see him winning track athlete of the year, but I don't see him beating Mondo, bro.
I think there's an argument there, man. I think breakout seasons should matter. What do y'all think, chat? Here we go. Women's World Athlete of the Year.
Who do you have for the women? Because you can't have Sydney then. It's too easy.
It's Sydney. It's Sydney.
All right.
Sydney does multiple events, dog. I think it's a big deal when you can choose what event you want to medal in at the Olympics. There's an argument in the 2, the 4, and the 4 hurdles that she would have won or at least medaled.
But she didn't do it, so we can't give her that credit yet. But if she said, let me choose the 400 and went and won that, then I could give her the respect that you're giving her of being the best in the 400. But she didn't do that. So Paulino gets that. You got to prove it.
Hey, sit tight. She may do that after she damages Paulinho in the 4 at Grand Slam track this year.
But she hasn't done it yet.
Look, my basic point is if you're comparing Mondo and Sydney as far as being dominant, it's not like Sydney only ran the 4 hurdles this year. Mondo only pole vaulted. Not his fault. That's what he does. Sydney doesn't do that. She does the 4 hurdles. She runs extremely fast in the 4. She ran 48.7 in one race. And then in the 200, she is beating the best women in the world. She beat 2 medalists in that race.
Gabby ran 22.4, bro. It's not that impressive.
Gretchen, she beat 2 medalists. Come on, man. Don't be disrespectful. You take that headwind away. That's definitely 21 seconds. And to run 21 seconds in April is extremely impressive, dog. Now, to do that, and it's not even your main event, that's a factor. I think that her versatility comes into play. Okay, Men's World Athlete of the Year.
It's going to be Mondo. That's easy.
I think Letsile has a shot, man.
Over Mondo?
Yeah. Because we're going season by season, right? How many times did Mondo break the world record last year?
I don't know, like every freaking time he jumped. Had to be at least 3 times, bro. And he broke it indoor too. I mean, what else can he do?
I don't know. I think per year there should be more factors than just the guy who is expecting to win to just be winning some more. Some people overcome odds. Some people win races that they weren't expected to. Some people have breakout seasons. I don't know what Mondo could do because he's doing everything he can.
We're getting into the LeBron and Jordan effect, where LeBron and Jordan could have won MVP every year, but people got tired of it and wanted something different.
That could be happening with him.
But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they are going to give it to him.
I don't know, man. I think breakout seasons matter.
Over just dominance?
There was sections of dominance for Tebogo.
Come on.
And look at he's in a much more competitive event. Mondo's expected to win every single time. No one's near Mondo. I think that's a problem as far as this is concerned. He doesn't have an actual competitor. I'm not saying it's easy to break the pole vault world record, but the ease of what he's doing might be working against him.
But it's the same thing for Sydney then. Why not give it to Julian over Sydney?
I think there's an argument there, but Sydney runs so many different events too. That's the thing, where she is challenged by people who are supposed to be better than her, but she still finds a way.
Okay, there's one
generational talent, competes and defeats all challengers in whatever venue.
Except for Polino.
These athletes don't come along very often. Generational talent.
What do you think Mono is?
Well, I think Mono's very good in the pole vault, and I think he's dominant in the pole vault. And I think no one's close to him in the pole vault. I don't think anyone can compete against him in the pole vault.
I'm just saying, how do you discredit Mondo and not Sydney?
I'm not discrediting him. I'm not discrediting him. I'm simply stating that Sydney is way more versatile than he is.
Mondo beat Karsten in the 100.
Oh my gosh. Let's not do this, man.
We talking sprint culture. We talking sprint culture.
Mondo, look at, man, I rate you, but it's just looking easy right now. It's not your fault, but